We're seeing now Be'ezeshem Yisbarach Daf Chof Tes. We started the sugya of Yain Nesach, and now we're going to go more deep into the sugya. First, we finished off with this din of gas shepekokon lachri mebifnim muteres and bechutz asura. She'i efshe sheleiyeh sham shifa achas telula, a wet branch. So if the goy touches that branch that became wet from the Yain Nesach, the whole boy becomes, it's the feich manas latfiach, and that's why the whole boy becomes Yain Nesach. And that's why he cannot plug the gas from outside. Shifa achas means sieve. In Lashon Aram it's called sieve. Shel ait lach. Avuna b'shem Rav. Hakiluach chibur. Kiluach, we know, it's called in our language, the Gemara, nitzik. A person pours from one cup to the next. That stream is considered like it's connecting both. Rabbi asked the question, B'chol asar leis at Avodah nitzik chibur. Why here is different? The Gemara says by Tumah v'Tahira, by Mikvois, nitzik is not a chibur. So Rav Huna nisnasach haboyer, nisnasach geluch, nisnasach haboyer. So according to this, Rav Huna holds according to Rav Zera. So it's two mechloekes. So Rav Huna means here according to the nusach of Rav Zera that he didn't say answer for this, but he holds that this is the din that when Yain Nesach is more chomer. So Rav Huna aliv the Rav Zera. That's how Rav Zera had a kubel from Rav Huna. Aliv Rav Zera. It's going the fishetas Rav Zera. Now, Rabbi says different. Rabbi says different. Rabbi la omakain. Rabbi said different. Omakain. He said different. Aliv de Rav Huna. He said different what Rav Huna meant. What did he say? Elo, he said like this. Nesnasach haboyer, nesnasach kiluach. Nesnasach kiluach, loy nesnasach haboyer. He says, no, we never said such a thing. The kiluach cannot make the boyer nisach. If he touched the boyer, okay, then that stream also becomes nesach. Let's say somebody can catch the stream before it enters the boyer. But if he touched the stream, it does not make the boyer Yain Nesach. So the machlokes is here between Rab Abba and Rab Zeira. What is the shittas Rav Huna? Le'inyan, if you manasach the kiluach, if the boyer becomes nesnasach. Taman Omer b'shem Rav, Magoy shem lochi v'kiluach eino esi Yain Nesach. Nachman Yaakov Omer v'vad b'shoises. It's talking in a case where it trickles, doesn't come as a fast stream. So then we say, so I guess this shit holds that really we do say nitzik chibur. That what chumra, we go to chumra, if you touch the kiluach, everything becomes nesach. But the shoises, if it goes slowly, then it does not become yain nesach. Armaya nofel leguva, a goy fell into a boy from yain. Also uv the kumer of hina. Omar, he said, koifshin olav. What you do is, you press down his hands. He shouldn't be able to pick it up. until you take out all the wine from the boil. And then it's not a problem, he didn't move. The story is a little bit different. He just put in his hand. Then Ravuna said you should bring baskets, and be zoilef means to empty out the whole boil until where his hand reaches. Because he shouldn't let his hand move in that area where he touched the wine. So that was the story. The story wasn't his whole body fell in. Rather, the story was he just put in his hand a little bit different story that happened to the bar. Shimon Bachia, Barav, he was teaching Barav, that's what he's asking. So he said over this halacha. Once he knows Tiv Avodah Zarah, he knows what's going on. He's not such a small child yet. Apik Rav Reisha in Kafsa. This Amalei looks like it doesn't belong here. She said, Rav took out his head from the window. Amalei adotat Amal Keich Avodim and Anochri. Anochri Atzmoi Ben Yoimoi Oisayayin Nesach. We're talking as two cases. One case is if a Yid bought a goy and he didn't toivel, wasn't megayer him yet. Then we need a certain age. But if it's a goy that lives in a goy's house, even if it's 1 day old, he can make yayin esach. That's enough. Nachri ma'ash yasu befiv yayin esach. Chanu shaila here. What is the halacha if a nachri can make with his mouth yayin esach? The Gemara or Adav Hashem Rabbi Lozer ein nachri is yayin esach befiv. No. Shosam in a kois. Avoy says he doesn't make. He could make with his mouth. He said no, a goy could make. Matana Cain, we learn like this. Agronisisus means memuna litamayayin. Someone who's memuna taste, that was his job from the government, to make sure there's no corruption going around, and maybe the wine is quality wine. So he was going around to check the wine. A neck is a straw. He drank from a cup or something, a certain keli that used to use to suck wine from one place to the next, and he drank from that. We're talking the nachri, v'noga hakois. What does it mean? He put back the kois, b'yadav. He put it, stuck in his hand. V'hu she'erzik ha'nochri v'noga b'yayim b'yadav be'ez chazaras ha'kois. Ne'zenochi ha'kois. I'm going to explain it better. Ne'zenochi ha'kois ha'toich hayayin. He put in his hand when he put it back. Because the mere fact that he drank from it makes it already yayin nesach. That's what Bimei Boy said. Okay, now we're starting a new sugya. The sugya of doichem im anachri begas. Zog the Mishnah. Doirchim ima nachri begas. Avaloi bites from imoi. So there's two steps. When you first you cut the grapes, and then you trample it in a special gas. It's a very big, hollow stone, and that's where you put on the grapes and you step on it till you squeeze out the juice, and the juice runs down. Runs into a gas hatachtoina, it's called. The bottom means where the wine gets collected. There's like a funnel that passes the pipe from the top one to the bottom one, and there's a way to make sure to block all the sediment, the peels, and the pit shouldn't come down. That was the simple way of making wine. Trampling on the grapes get out the juice runs down the pipe, and it comes into the bottom vat. So the Mishnah says, Doichim manochri begas. So you're talking here, the guy owns this whole company. He makes his own. He has a wine company. And he wants to be a worker there. So the shaila is, what's the problem here? Problem is, are you helping a person that does perosa betuma? The answer is, it's huksher b'shasa b'tzira. The Gemara says that grapes become huksher. So these grapes are anyway tummy. So when you go, when you step on it, you're not adding anything. The tumah happened already before. That's why you're allowed to do it. Because that's the time when it gets huksher. So it means right now you are facilitating the fact of producing tummy fruits. Because when you cut it, that's when it becomes tummy. The guy touches it, that's the time when it becomes tummy. So it's all about, this whole Mishnah Be'etzim deals about the concept of ligroim tumah leperis, Beretz Yisrael. So we say by Nachri, the din is you're allowed to do it only if it's already tamei, but not in the initial stage, by B'tzira, when you cut it from the tree. By him, you have to be machmeh more. You're not allowed to help him out even b'shas hadricha, even though it's already tamei anyway. You're not supposed to be sayeya. Konsi yoyes shaloi de sayeya oiva aveira. Shaloi de sayeya oiva aveira. Ava malicha imay chavias legas. You're allowed to help him carry empty bottles to the gas. That's the place where the wine gets collected, and you're going to package it there. Maybe in imoy min gas. Then you take it from the gas, you store it in a certain warehouse. Omar Rabbi Yoina said, Adodat Omar. This is what we say, that you're allowed to squeeze with nachri vehu shehilchu aleim droichias shasi ve'erev. Only if it's already huchshar. Ktsas v'nitmu v'en Yisrael goyrem hatuma. We're talking here that's already, they walked on it already, shasi ve'erev. The goyim. When the yid comes into the picture, it's already full of juice, and it's already anyway tummy. That's when the yid is allowed to help. Then we don't allow this because it's not considered really mukhshar yet. So you are coming into the time when the tumah happens. Biasi says, hold on. So we'll bring down now a Mishnah Rishoina that's interesting. It's not brought down in the Bavli, and it's a Tesefte. And we'll see that this Mishnah Rishoina did not allow Dericha. So again, the Mishnah Achroina, we have our Mishnah Achroina, says, but with a goy, you're allowed to do, the Mishnah says that you're allowed to do Dericha, but not Betzira. Not Betzira. Don't be Betzira. The reason is because Betzira, that's the beginning of the Tumah. The Dericha was anyway Tumah, so you can help him. The Mishnah Rishoina, however, said opposite. Ma'am is the opposite. You can only do Betzira, but not Dericha. That's Mishnah Rishoina. And we assume the reason is because why is Mishnah Rishoina machmer that you cannot do Dericha? Because the real Tumah happens by the Dericha. That's when the first Betzira Tumah is not a real Tumah, because it's not really Mukhshar. The real Tumah happens b'shas the Dericha. That's why the Mishnah says you're not allowed. But if we learn that we're talking here, that's already Shasi ve'erev, so there's no reason in the world why we should not allow the yid to help out. It's already after the dricha. What's the problem here? It's already after the dricha. So that's why Rabbi Yasser is learning rather differently. That we're talking here before the dricha. I mean before Shesiv Erev. It's small, but not a strong dricha. And that's why the Mishnah Rishoina asks dricha to help out, because that's when you're making the tumah. It makes sense. He asks that, and the Mishnah Achroina says you could do it because we can't tumah b'shas b'tzira. That's different. So we can argue around, but at least there's Svara Lakan, but at least makes sense to say that it should be usher to do dricha because it's still not 100% tummy. But if we're talking in a stage that it's already after Shasi ve'erev, there's no reason in the world that Mishnah Rishoina should answer. That's what he's asking. This makes no sense at all. So it's much stabber that we're talking about lo hilcha Shasi ve'erev, and that's why the Mishnah Rishoina held okay. By the dricha, that's when the tumah really comes into play. B'tzira is not tumah. The rice it's not huchsha yet, and the Mishnah Achronis says no. B'tzira, that's the tumah, and later it's not a problem anymore. It's already tumah anyway, so you can say Svara Fucha that b'tzira is a problem and dricha not. So now the Gemara is very matik the Mishnah Rishoina, the Tani, but Rishoina, this is the Tesefta here, and it's Meshubish, and we changed it a little bit. They said B'tzira is mutter and dricha not. B'tzira is mutter because the hechsher b'shas b'tzira is not a real hechsher, so nothing happens yet. B'doichem Yisrael tuma yiladu dricha also because why would they matter dricha? B'doichem im Yisrael she'esa b'tuma. Because it's anyway tummy. It's anyway tummy. But in doichem im anachri, by a goy we were machmer more, he did not allow that either. He said boitzrim im anachri, but not doichem, because that's when it's by Yid, we say you can be boitzer and doirch also. They weren't so scared about Yidden. They didn't want to make us maybe a Eva between Yidden, so he said, don't worry about Yidden. That's our Mishnah. You cannot do B'tzira. That's when this Tumah starts. But you cannot make Dericha either. But you could make Dericha with a Nachri. That's our Mishnah. That other Rabbi. B'tzira not, that's the beginning. But Dericha, it's anyway already Tomei. You can help out the Goy to make Dericha. But make sure it's Almanem Nasa Yayin Nesach. Okay. So that's a Mishnah Achreina. Ein Beitzir Man Achri. And the Ein Doichem Im Yisrael Shu Oise Betuma. Do not squeeze with the Yisrael Shi Oise Bet, not trample with the Yisrael Shu Oise Betuma, Yisrael that makes Betuma. Because don't be Msayeya over Avera. But Tzira you could with the Yisrael, but Dericha not. Or could be nothing, because the Mishnah says you cannot do neither not Dericha and Kalbuchem not Betzira. And Doichem Yisrael Shoyse Betuma. Ein Beitzer Manachri, but Doichem, and Ein Doichem v'Kalbuchem et Ein Beitzer. That should mean, and doichem im yisrosh is with tumah, the kal v'choyim v'sheim boitrim. And doichem yisrosh is with tumah, I would add the kal v'choyim v'sheim boitrim. Kal v'choyim she'ein boitrim. That's Mishnah Chroina. Okay. My time to Rabbi Yasser. What's the reason for Rabbi Yasser? Sh'ganitma mehechshe b'tzira. Akein hitter afil lo yilchu. Rabbi Yasser says we don't have to worry about it. That according to the Mishnah Chroina, he says yemar bi doyrech im nachri even when lo yilchu boy. Why? Because it's very mukhsher from the b'tzira. My time to Rabbi Yoina, no, can't say such a thing. She'ein mashk shebtzira machsheres, ati shegzat alein tum, akein atam atamai b'shaz dericha. You cannot say stam that you can help out a guy b'shaz dericha, because that's when it becomes really tomei. When a Torah does not become a tomei b'shaz b'tzira, only b'shaz dericha. So the only way we can understand the Mishnah Choroin that you're allowed to help out a guy to make dericha, the only way we can understand it must be in a way that we're talking that it's already hilcha b'shas of erev, and then that's it's tom anyway. So we understand that we can help out the guy do dericha. Chayle de Rabbi Yasser men ado. What's the strength from Rabbi Yasser from this din? So it's in din Masechta Chala. It says like this: Noiled la sofik tumah. Ad sheloi gilgala te'asa b'tumah, keivan she'ein yochel litnei laharon, ein olav isra tamai. That's what it says. It says in the Mishnah Masechta Chala that if before the Gilgal something happened there, we don't know for sure that something happened with the Isa, you say no problem. There's no problem to do the whole thing b'tumah. Why? Because it's not. The Gemara to bring down the only issue of being with Tameh is only if it's already Tavel Chala. But before that, actually Gilgala, it's not. There's no serious issue. So we say if you have any trouble here, just don't worry about it. Just do it with Tumah. If it's Mashiach Gilgala, then you have to be careful. You don't know. Maybe it's not Tameh. So you're not allowed to be with Tameh. So you have to be careful not to do it with Tumah. But if it's noted l'fnei Gilgal, there's no ism and Torah to be metama. So we say, since you don't, anyway, not even able to be mafish b'tahara, so might as well fully do it b'tumah. Don't worry about it at all. We're going to bring down this halacha here. Bedin hoya shei adam metamis tivet v'Torah. There's no ism and Torah to be metama tevel. Truma tzich hashimo and tevel tzich hashimo. Matnayim only and tamas tevel. Chsiv tatam tivet hashem la'ana kohen. Let's say kan hoya v'inat yochel litn la'ana kohen and shoat l'tamoisam. So that's why, in a case, a kan means shenoidet sofik tumah. Kan kishen noilad sofik tumah. You're anyway not going to be able to be Mekayim. If it happened already after Gilgal, then there was an Isser be'etzem to be Metama. It's not Ksidim Metama Teva, it's Ksidim Metama Tovel Lechala. But if it's in a matzav that's still Tevel, the whole Isser is only because you should be able to give it Tahara. But you cannot give it Tahara, so who cares? Might as well do the whole thing Betumah. So same thing here. It brings this whole Gemara. This is brought down from a Sechta Chala, and it brings down a raya from here that. What do we see from this? That you can be makel. There's no serious isser to be metama tevel. That's what he wants to bring from the whole thing. There's no serious issue. That's why it can be makel that bedricha you're allowed to be metama. In other words, even if you would tell me that it's not muksher ram bedricha mekilim metamas af im nochen adover she lo yichshar. You're asking me that it's now you can answer is because it's, even though it's not af im that Torah there's no issa to be metama. It's only you should be able to be mafresh. So here in the case where it was already midirabanan muksher, ich nam bedicha makil metama is af im min ha-Torah adayan loy nitma. This is the why you bring in this whole sugi here. So this is the end of daf chof tes. Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach. End of daf chof tes.